What's going on, everybody? This is Joe Daddy, aka Tuskegee 87, and today we're going to be going over how to change the coolant in your 2001 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 edition. So the things that you will need for this particular endeavor is a couple of 3/8 or half-inch extensions. I'd say 6 inches will be a pretty good distance or length. You will also need some long wrench hex picks. So you'll need a 5/16 length, so it'll be something like this. And you'll also need a 17 millimeter. I forgot what the US measurement is on that, but you'll need something about like this size, 17 millimeter. And we'll get into why you need that later. And then you'll need a 1/2 inch driver or socket wrench rather, for your 1/2 inch, especially for this 1/2 inch tool that you'll be using. Again, you'll probably want to get some extra tools with you. So if you want, you can get you a 1/2 inch driver as well. I find that these things come in handy. Your universal ball joint, that's the part on the car, but anyway, you get what I mean. This little doohickey right here comes in pretty good handy. Also as well, where is it? You can get you a converter, a 1/2 inch to 3/8 inch socket wrench converter, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. So I'm actually going to hold this out and just kind of show you what I did. Now, I highly recommend, if this is your first time changing your coolant, that you go with the 8 or the 1/2 inch all the way around, because you're going to have to get on both sides of the engine block to unbolt 2 drain plugs, and they're both going to be in different sizes. One of them is going to have a 17 millimeter hole in it, or is going to require 17 millimeter hex screw, and the other one is going to require a 5/16 one. So it's in there pretty good and tight, which is why I say go with a 1/2 inch driver, because it'll give you the torque that you need to actually break it. Not necessarily actually break it, but you know, get it loosened so that you can take it off all the way. Alright, and then again, of course, you want to take a drain pan and just slide it under the vehicle. So we're actually going to get into that. So the first step, oh yes, I forgot one more important thing. You're definitely going to need this. Jacks, a jack and a jack stand, or my personal favorite, ramps. I prefer to use ramps because I feel more safe and comfortable working under my vehicle when it's sitting on something more solid and sturdy versus sitting on jacks. And I know a lot of people have used jacks before, but they're hydraulics, and if there's a leak in there or a slow leak and you don't know about it, your jack could lose pressure, or you know, there's no telling what could happen. I'm not a mechanic per se on jacks and all of that, but like I said, it's hydraulically controlled, and I know a lot about airplanes, and hydraulics are the main reason an airplane would crash, because they haven't been maintained properly. So that's my reasoning on that. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to come down up under your... Oh yes, you're also going to need some goggles. And if you really want to get wild with it, ski goggles. And I'll let you know about that in a little bit. So I kind of got ahead of myself. Sorry about that. So now we're going to go down here, up under the vehicle. If I can find my light. Up here we go. Alright. So if you look up under here, hopefully you can see this pretty good. But right there, this little doohickey right here is where you're going to want to place your pan under. So you just slide it up under there, and you'll twist this knob. But don't do it just yet. So now that you have your pan in place, we're going to go back up top. And make sure your car is cool. I would say under 100 degrees, and that it's been off for at least 15 to 20 minutes if you're going to do this. But especially make sure it's under 100 degrees, because that will be the maximum limit I will say open this up at. But again, if you just stop driving your car, it's going to be under pressure, so you want to turn, open it up slowly, and I can hear some of the pressure coming out. What I recommend you doing is actually disconnecting your battery, or either putting something over it so the coolant doesn't splash on the terminals or splash off anywhere else and cause corrosion. I'm not gonna do the full coolant change because I just changed it for the first time myself yesterday, so, or a couple of days ago, and I wanted to make sure I did it right before I made a video on it, since I didn't see a video on YouTube about it. But anyway, you'll keep turning this thing until it decides to come off. You gotta push down on it though. Alright, so it's all good there. Shake that off a wee bit. Blam. Alright, so here it is. There's the coolant right there. See it sitting up top. Of course, it's nice and clean and bright orange. It's either gonna be that way, it's either gonna look still like that, or be a little bit brown when you open it up and start to change it. But the only difference is when you drain it out, you may see some particles in there, or it could just be outright brown. But anyway, you want to open up the cap of your radiator first. Once you do that, you want to come back under, and you want to make sure I got the camera adjusted just right. But you want to be able to come up here and you just twist. You just twist, and what'll happen is fluid will start coming out of this little hole here, and you will unscrew the whole thing off. So you unscrew the entire thing off, and fluid will start running out. And you may want to place your pan a little bit back here because it's gonna spray straight out. And of course, it's like changing your oil. As the pressure starts to equalize on the radiator, it'll slowly start to come out slower, and then it'll start to, well, you get the drill. Anyway, so yeah, you leave that under there. Once it all drains back out, what you want to do next is put it back in there, screw it all the way in, and then I can't get up under there, but and then so yeah, you'll do that. You'll see all the fluid drain out of there. So once it's all good and gone, you'll know that it's empty. Next step, I didn't put my vehicle on the ramps because obviously you saw them off to the side. But I'm gonna try to do my best to resituate myself and see if I can get this on the ramp for you, so I can show you where you actually need to place these sockets at, because that's the important part. So yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Alright, and we're back. So now I got my tools set up how I want to do. I have my, I forget how long this is, my 6-inch extender. Feels like more of a foot, with my 17mm, and this is the 1/2-inch drive. Then I have my 1/2-inch driver, of course. Then I have my, this is actually a 6-inch, that's more like a different length, 10 inches I think. I have my 6-inch 5/16 drive, or 5/16 extender, hex extender, and a 3/8 inch drive with a 3-inch extender, followed by the 1/2-inch to 3/8 inch adapter at the end. So this is how I have my setup. You don't have to do it exactly like this. I found that this works almost exactly perfect for me for the V8 setup. So before we get up under the hood, we're gonna pick up where we left off, or excuse me, under the car. We're gonna pick up where we left off, and again, remember how I said remove your filter cap. So I actually just turned mine on. I just cut the car off because I got it up on the ramps now. I didn't show you all that, but here's the car up on the ramps on that side. Like I said, the great thing about these ramps, I mean, they're quick and easy. You just stick it up under the wheel and you drive up. You don't even need to press the pedal to get it up, except at the very last bit, but it does good. I feel safe and comfortable. Nothing should happen because you're going to be doing a lot of torquing on the engine, and if you don't have jack stands, this just makes it, you know, it may make it a little more dangerous for you. So anyway, We're gonna go on this again. Just cut the car off, so it's still cold, so it won't burn if it spews everywhere, but it will be under a little bit of pressure. So you just want to turn slowly and deliberately. All right, so there you go. I just cut the car off. Nothing spewed on. I only had the car on for about 30 seconds at best. All right, so we're good to go. Next thing that you want to do, and again, I'm not going to do it because I just changed the coolant and I don't want this mess all over the place. But down here, you want to disconnect this. So this is your thermostat housing. Up under here is your actual thermostat, and I really wish I had my camera with me when I was doing this so I could show you all of this. But you have two bolts over here. So you have one that's right here, and then one up under the housing tube itself. You want to basically take that off. It shouldn't be too tight on there. You can do this one or two ways. You can take this clamp and basically slide it back, pull the hose off, let all the fluid drain out of the bottom of the radiator that didn't come out from the flow, and just let it drain out. You probably have a good bit that's still in there. Once that happens, you'll have more access to actually get to these bolts and take the housing out. Once you unbolt the housing, you're going to have some more fluid come out of here, so be prepared to have your drip pan under there. So basically you take these bolts out, pull it out. Your thermostat housing is going, or your thermostat itself is going to be attached to the housing. So I'll post a picture up somewhere, probably here, to show you what a thermostat housing looks like. When you take the thermostat out, you actually have to take the thermostat with it in the housing, set it down on the ground, push hard on the ground, and you have to rotate it. To get the thermostat to come out, and when you're putting it back in, you have to reverse that process. So like I said, you will take this out, you'll basically hit this clamp, slide it back. It's tough, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's tough to kind of clamp down if you don't have the right tool. I had to use a vice grip because I didn't have a big enough you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I didn't have one that was big enough to grasp this and slide it back. But anyway, once you do that, fluid's gonna come out. Once that's all done, you shouldn't see any more coolant in here. It should all be in your pan. Make sure you dispose of your coolant properly, and don't use it as weed killer. And then, yeah, so that's that. Let it all drain out. You'll come up under your vehicle, and don't forget a light, because trust me, you'll need it. And we're going to start on the driver's side. Both sides are relatively easy. The reason why I'm showing you this video is because to show you a little bit of lessons learned. As on the driver's side, I spent a lot of time trying to get access to the drain plug and didn't really quite know what I was doing. I just hit my head. Alright, so you're gonna take your 17-inch with your 10-inch socket for your half-inch driver, and you're gonna stick it up this hole next to your alternator. And let me get some light in there so you can see that. Alright, so I don't know if you can really see it good or not, but where the light is flashing, you should be able to see part of the bronze looking drain plug, and it should have a big hex socket in there. And what you want to do is basically take this and stick it in there. And again, this side is probably going to be a little bit easier than the other side, or at least it was for me. But you'll stick your socket wrench in there and make that happen. So let me get set up for you, and we'll go forward. Alright, so as you can see right there, I have my light in place. I kind of stuck it back off next to the engine block and kind of had it resting somewhere just to shine light on there, because you're going to need both of your hands to actually complete this task, and you're going to need the light to see where you're going. So anyway, take your 17mm and go ahead and get it in there. And this is when you're gonna want to have eye protection on, and you're gonna finagle it for a little while. And let me tell you, it's gonna take a little bit. That's why I recommended the universal joints. But once you get it in there, yeah, there we go. Alright, so once you get it in there, you basically just crank it. Now, be prepared for more fluid to come out. You're gonna want your drain pan right up under you. You're gonna want it just like right here, because fluid is gonna come gushing out everywhere. Alright, so keep that in mind. Once you drain all of that out, just screw the plug back in, and you can take that part out. And then we'll go ahead and slide over to the passenger side, and we're going to attach our other drive. So we're going to attach this puppy. And forgive me if the camera angle is all weird and retarded. I'm laying down trying to do all this with one hand. So again, we're going to set up for the next side. Alright, so here we go. We're on the passenger side. I am right here, right next to the starter. So you're going to have a tight squeeze to get up in between here. But like I said, the socket setup that I have will be just perfect to get up in there. And I'm hoping that you can see that right there. That's your 5/16 hex drive, or hex extension that you'll need. So again, you'll just slide that up in there, do the same thing that you did with the driver's side, and then press on. And again, I'm going to show you just a little bit how it works. Again, you're going to want to position the light to where it best benefits you, and it's going to be kind of hard for you to see, but when you're doing it yourself, you should be good to go. So again, sorry for the camera angle and the shakiness. But anyway, you'll slide it in there. I have the little wobble head extenders, so they don't stay steady or straight, but it did help me on the other side. Alright, so sweetest in there. Alright, so once you get that in there, again, you just start cranking, and you might want to move your face out of the way, because coolant is going to come gushing right at your face. Again, that's the main reason why I suggested the eyeglasses, the eyewear, and the ski stuff, because again, it's going to start flooding everywhere. So anyway, once it all gushes out, you go ahead and just screw it back in. What I recommend you do is that when you actually take the bolt out, don't take your socket wrench all the way out, because it's going to be pretty hard trying to stick it back in between your fuel line and your engine block, or stick the bolt back in between there. So just wrench it out, put it down a little bit, let it drain out, and then just stick it right back in there, crank it back down. It should make your life a little bit easier. Alright, so that is that piece. So now we're gonna go on to the next step and just slide out from under here. Alright, so now we're back up top. What you'll need to do now is get some distilled water, or you can use tap water. I just use water from a hose pipe, and I just stuck it in there, cut the water on, let it fill all the way up. Again, at this point, you should make sure that your thermostat housing is attached and your hose is attached, but make sure your thermostat itself is not inside the housing. So your thermostat has to be completely out of the engine. And again, all of this has to be connected and look just like this now, minus the thermostat on the inside. So you fill this all the way up, you keep putting water in, you have to give the radiator time to release some of that pressure and let some of that air out, so it'll fill up pretty quick, and then just give it time for some of the air to come out, and keep filling it up and keep filling it up and keep filling it up. You'll fill it up until it gets to the top. Once it gets to the top and it doesn't drain anymore, or it doesn't go down anymore, you'll get back in the car, you'll start your car up, let it run for about 5-10 minutes or so. Once you complete that process, and again, make sure you put your radiator cap back on before you start your vehicle. But you will do that. So you let your vehicle run for about 5 minutes or so, let the water circulate throughout your entire engine block. You can probably do it for about 10 minutes too. I didn't do it that long. If you want to, you can open up the throttle some and just kind of let it go flow through there a little bit faster as well. Once that's done, you'll cut your engine off and you'll basically go through the same exact process that we did. So again, you'll take your radiator cap off. Again, make sure that you're doing it slow. You'll come up under here. You'll line your tube up. You'll grab this piece, unscrew it all the way out. Let all the fluid drain out, which should be water. You should still see it come out a little bit orange. Again, you just do that until the radiator is empty. You'll come back, screw this back in, then you'll readjust, move your drip pan in a different position so that you can get over here, unclip this piece, let the water flow out of there into your bucket, then disconnect this, let the rest of the water flow out. You'll reconnect these. It's very important that you make sure that you reconnect these. After you've done that, you want to come back under your vehicle again, and those places that I showed you right here up under or behind your alternator, and over here in between the starter and the engine block itself, you want to take those drain bolts out once again, let all that water flow out, screw them back in, screw both of the bolts back in, nice, pretty good and tight, or not too tight, but screw them in so that they're seated. And then once you do that, you just go back and repeat the process until the water comes out clear. You want to make sure you get all the particles and everything out of the engine. And then once you do that, once it's all good, nice and clear, you'll go ahead and disconnect your housing again, and you'll put your thermostat back in there. So you have the option of using the same thermostat or going out and buy a new thermostat. You can also get a thermostat housing to go along with that thermostat. You don't have to. I didn't. My car is running just fine. It's all good and great to go. Knock on wood somewhere. Yeah. That's drywall. Yep, found it. Alright, cool. So now that you've done that, you put your thermostat housing back in, you buttoned everything up, you screwed everything back in. Last thing to do is to go ahead and fill her up with coolant. You can, for GM vehicles, you want to use the Dexcool. It's in the gray bottle. You can get it at any AutoZone. Like I said, it says Dexcool GM. You can either use 50/50, which is the easiest. You don't have to pre-dilute it. It's already done for you. Or you can get the fully concentrated one and dilute it yourself. Just got to make sure you got the right things going on, or excuse me, the right mixture rather. So you'll need about 3 to 4 gallons of coolant to run in there, and you'll pour it in, wait till the thing fills up, all that good jazz. You'll pour it in, good to go. Once it fills all the way up, just screw the top back on, cut your car on, let it run for again a few minutes, or about 5 minutes. Once the car is off, or once 5 minutes has elapsed, cut the car off, come back, check the level, because the fluid level should drain some, just for the simple fact that you started the vehicle up and the thermostat opened up to let more of the coolant into the engine block. Again, you just fill her up, wait till it gets up to the neck again, go back, cap it up. Again, just put your cap on, turn it all the way on, start your engine up one more time, let it run for about another 5 minutes, come back, check, fill it up if it needs to. If not, go ahead and take your car for a drive. Go ahead and just take it for a nice drive around the block, get the engine warmed up some, and once you come back home, just check the level, add fluid if you need to. If you don't, that's great. For the next 5 days, that's right, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ha ha ha. For the next 5 days, you'll want to check every day the level of your fluid. Again, if it gets below the neck, just add some more in there. Again, you want your fluid to cover all of the radiator internal components. You don't want any of the metal exposed. So anyway, again, I know this was kind of a long video, but I try to be as thorough and as depth as I can without actually performing the process myself. It's pretty easy. I mean, it feels almost exactly like doing an oil change, except 3 or 4 times at the same time. Once you do it the first time, I mean, it should be pretty easy and simple for you. It should be straightforward. I mean, you shouldn't really have any issues with it. But if you do have any questions or concern, please leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to you as soon as possible. One other thing that I forgot to mention is your coolant reservoir. You actually want to disconnect your battery and take the whole thing out, because there is a bolt up under there that's the same exact size as your battery bolt, and you will just unbolt that. You will unscrew this, so you'll take this screw, unscrew it, pull this hose off, and then you'll raise the entire reservoir out. You want to wash and clean that off as well. So sorry I forgot to mention that earlier in the video, but that is a step that you will want to do. Doesn't really have too big of an impact. I mean, it's just a overflow reservoir, but I mean, if you want to go ahead and clean it, that's the right proper way to do it. If you want to save time, you don't have to do it. Be careful, because your heater hose is actually going to run in between, right up under your battery. It's going to be part of this, so you'll want to take that out, or take the hose off of your reservoir before you pull it out all the way. But I mean, other than that, it should be pretty straightforward and simple. Hopefully this video will help you all out if you're looking to change your coolant and you know, just want to get a little more connected with your vehicle, and go on through there. So again, leave comments, questions, suggestions. If y'all want me to post up another video, that will be great. I'll go ahead and see what I can do for you. If it's about headers, that's going to be a hard video to post. I did install my own headers, but I ran into a lot of trouble, and it took me about 2.5 days to do it. It should have only taken me 1, but I ran into a lot of rust problems and bolts breaking and all of this shenanigans. And plus I had to drive my car every day too, so yeah. But other than that, that's it for changing your coolant in this 2001 4th generation Chevrolet Camaro. This is your boy Joe Daddy, aka Tuskegee 7, saying straighten up and fly right. Catch y'all later.